Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with another acting video for you, and this time it's all about show reels. I have got my little notebook and I've been making some notes on some tips and tricks that I've learned kind of throughout the years about putting together a show reel. Now, if you don't know what a show reel is, essentially it is a collation of your work. So if you have been working professionally in film and TV, then it's any clips that you have got of yourself in things that you can put together so that a casting director can kind of see what you can do, really. It's like a little highlights reel of what you can do. It's kind of common knowledge now that most people need a show reel, especially now we're in the digital age where we're getting a lot of self-tapes, and that's normally like the first stage of an audition. But also as well currently now, like the fact that we are not going to auditions at all, we are having to essentially show people what we can do from the comfort of our home, and obviously self-tapes are now going to be the first way to get a step into a casting. So I've got some little tips, and these are things that I've either tried and tested and I've applied to my own show reel, or when I've been on casting director workshops, these are lots of tips that they've given us. Now obviously no casting director thinks the same, they all have varying opinions, and I kind of kept that in mind, but these are all things that worked for me. Okay, so this weird humming in the background, it's someone cutting the grass outside, just to let you know. But we're going to continue anyway, and if you find this helpful, please do let me know. If you've got any tips yourself, please do share them down below in the comments section. Some people have asked me questions about show reels, and I have essentially answered these questions in this video, but if you do have any more questions, just let me know. So the first thing you need to do is to actually collate your previous work. So if you do have any previous work professionally through film, TV, short films, things like that, then you need to get hold of them and you need to get copies of them. That's the main thing. Obviously, if you've got something like a Spotlight page, if you're in the UK, your show reel will be uploaded onto there. If you don't have Spotlight, then you can always upload it onto YouTube or Vimeo. But if you're uploading it into like a public domain like YouTube, just be aware of some of the material that you post might have copyright issues. So just be aware of that if you are going to be uploading it onto a public social media platform. Now, this is one of the questions I get asked a lot. What happens if you don't have any professional work? One of the main things that I have got from when I've been to casting director workshops and people have asked the same question, they basically say, film your own stuff. There is no right or wrong way, and there's only a few casting directors I know that kind of say they don't like seeing filmed monologues in a show reel, but the majority that I have spoken to, they say they'd prefer to see you do something. Doesn't matter what the quality is like. Obviously you want to have, you know, good lighting, good sound, they can see you and hear you. But obviously if you don't have a major film studio at home, it's not a big issue. So if you're actually having to film your own stuff, the main thing that I kind of give advice wise when you're looking for what sort of things to do is to use your own judgment. If you are an amazing writer, then write your own stuff. Show off that skill that you've got, that you can write and that you can act. If you're not really confident enough to write yet, then there are loads of great websites out there that do have monologues on them. And there's one that I discovered recently, which I'll link down below, and I can't remember for the life of me what the name is. But there are some really rubbish ones out there, just to warn you, but there are also some really great ones. So I think the best thing for you to do is just do your own research, have a little look, and see what you can find. And if there's a monologue that really clicks with you, then go for that. Also as well, I find that personally when I watch a monologue that is supposed to be for theatre, I can tell it's for theatre because sometimes the actor will automatically go into theatre mode. And if you're trying to get into film and TV, I suggest trying to pick a monologue that is written for film and TV, because I don't know whether it's just me, but I can tell as soon as someone does a monologue that is theatre based. Obviously if you're going for theatre work, that's not an issue, then that doesn't really matter. But if film and TV is more your thing, then that's just something to be aware of. A tip that I got very recently was that, and obviously I'm not looking at filming my own monologues just yet, I'm more looking at writing my own stuff. But if you are picking a monologue, try not to go for a really well-known monologue. Don't try and be the next Meryl Streep. Don't try and be the next Ian McKellen, you know. Try and pick a monologue that isn't that well known. If you do a well-known monologue from like film or TV, and sometimes even theatre, the casting director will have a person in their head that they saw do this, and they will just compare you to them. So try not to go for like a really well-known monologue. Don't try and do anything from Game of Thrones or The Witcher or anything that's kind of big at the moment. This was also another tip that I picked up from a casting director's workshop, and is that you can use old self-tapes that you have submitted before and actually use it in your show reel. So there are some people that don't like this, but I think if you've got a really good self-tape that you did that actually got you quite far down in the casting process, then there's no harm in doing that, because, you know, if you were good enough to be called back in maybe for 1 or 2 rounds and then maybe didn't get it in the end, it shows that that was a good piece. You got called in for that. So have a little look through your old self-tapes and see if there are any that stand out that you could maybe use. Okay, so now you've got the material, it's time to edit. So the first tip I can give you is not to make it too long. That's where people can firstly slip up. I try to make mine between 2 to 4 minutes. Sometimes casting directors prefer less. Sometimes they don't mind watching a little bit longer, but that's kind of the time frame I try to keep mine in. And the main reason why is this: casting directors do not watch, or very rarely watch, a whole show reel from beginning to end. I've actually seen some of the casting people on a job that may be multitasking while they're on set, looking through show reels, and they literally will go along kind of the time frame and just click at random bits. Now, honestly, this is like no offense to you. It's just because they, A, don't have much time, and B, they've had probably so many submissions that they're trying to speed up the process of seeing who they want to bring in. I've heard some casting directors say that they kind of gauge what a person will be like within the first like 5 to 10 seconds, which isn't that long, obviously. So, you know, sometimes you just might not be the right look, or might not be what the director or producers were looking for originally. Couple of important things though when you are putting together your material is try to have a variety. There's no point you having 4 scenes where you're pretty much playing exactly the same character, because what's the point? You're gonna have one clip, let that be your clip, then move on to a clip that is varied. So try and vary it up with different genres. Try and do some comedy, try and do some more serious stuff. If you can do stuff that is in a different style, so if you've got something that is I don't know, more of like a caricature, and then one which is a bit more kind of natural and realistic, maybe go for something like that. Also, if you can do accents, then I try and throw in the ones where I've got accents. Obviously, if the material's good, I will throw in the material where I've got me doing different accents. Obviously, don't submit something if you're not that good at doing an accent. My ones that I kind of put on my showreel where I know I'm strong in it is obviously an RP accent, which is received pronunciation, essentially a little bit more posh than how I'm speaking now. London, because I work in London, I'm around a lot of people who have London accents, so I'm able to bounce off that. And Standard American, because that is an accent that I've kind of honed in on over the years. So they're the kind of accents that I have on my showreel currently, but don't try and put a ton of accents on there if you're not great at some of them. When it comes to the order of how to put your material, I suggest putting your strongest piece first, and also maybe one that is quite like you. If there's a character that is quite like you naturally, then try and go for that, because then if someone's watching your showreel and that's the first thing they see, then they can gauge that is what you are like in real life. That's you. And then if you're able to go on to do different characters and accents, etc., then they can see that you've got variety. So for me currently, I'm struggling a little bit with this, because my first bit on my showreel actually isn't me doing my normal accent. I'm currently waiting on a short film that I did last year, and I know that's gonna be my first bit on my showreel when I update my showreel. I also try and put, as I said, my most recent piece at the start of my showreel, because then again they can see what you look like. Sometimes your face will change and you don't know it. If there's a piece that you've had from like 5 years ago, you can look quite different in 5 years. So I also try and put my most recent piece at the start of my showreel. Also, shall we talk about montages? I think we need to. Montages are lovely. They're really nice, but I think the general consensus is not to include them in your showreel, because a casting director's gonna look at it and be like, what's this? A montage is not going to show you to your best ability. It's just going to be a clip of your face, and it's not really going to help you, essentially, if they're looking for something. So, I mean, if you want to throw one in at the end, then you can. But I think I've seen some showreels that start off with a montage, and again, from workshops that I've been on, general consensus casting directors don't like montages. So don't put a montage in. Don't stress yourself out about putting one in. This is a little side note. So if you have any experience in commercials or presenting, then try and create a showreel that is dedicated to that. So for instance, try and keep your main showreel as your acting stuff, film, TV, theatre, all that jazz. If you've got a strong commercial presence, if you've been in quite a few commercials, especially ones that you can really see yourself in and have had a really good run, then try and put together a little commercials showreel. Same for presenting. If you've got any presenting work, put it on there. My last little tip, and this is one that I think has really helped me over the years, is to create mini showreels. So as I said about the thing where casting directors will not watch a whole showreel, what I decided to do was to take the clips that I had in my showreel and have them as a separate clip that I could upload and send off to a casting director. Now what I did was I got all of my strongest pieces, especially if it was things like comedy, if I've got one showing an American accent, things in that sort of general thing where they're looking for something specific, and then I uploaded them all onto unlisted YouTube videos, and then I sent all the links to my agent. And then what my agent does is, oh, I've not had that in a long while, battery died. I'd been doing quite well up until then. So let's say a casting director has put out a casting and they are looking for standard girl next door, American accent, but they're going to be filming in Europe, so they're casting in the UK. So what my agent will do is they will take that YouTube video of me doing my American accent and they will send it off to the casting director in their submission. It cuts out that process of the casting director having to go to my showreel and then try and find the clip in my showreel. It actually kind of gives them a direct way to show what I can do, essentially. And then all that's left to do is upload it and to show it off to the world and see if anything comes from it. I do hope this has helped you. Obviously, if you are starting to make your own showreel and you've not done one before, then there's quite a lot of info in there for you. But even if you have got a showreel already and you're just looking to update it, I hope there may be some tips in there for you when it comes to putting it together, because I know from experience that it's been a long learning curve for me putting together my own showreel, because like there were times when I would be like second guessing the order and how long it was and all that sort of thing. But I hope that was helpful to you in some way. If you do have any more questions, then do let me know. If there are any more acting videos that you want me to do, then again, please do let me know in the comments down below. Do like and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.